announce that this meeting is being recorded for the minute-taking purposes, as well as for posting of the recording of the proceedings on the Access Health CT website. Thank you.
Okay, it's requested that all participants introduce themselves every time they speak, and roll call votes will be taken on every action item. At this point, we'll call the meeting to order. I'm Tom McNeil, Chair of Human Resources. If everyone would introduce themselves.
Stephen Hernandez,
Officer of Healthcare Advocate.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Hernandez here.
Thank you. And is Mr. Paul Philpott? Mr. Paul Philpott is not present. Thank you.
Okay. Other participants?
Sure, James Michelle, Access Health Connecticut.
Susan Rich by Access Health Connecticut.
Good morning, Glenn Jurgen with Access Health Connecticut.
Good morning, Marcin Olechowski, Access Health Connecticut.
Okay. Just the note, we're proceeding at it's about 10:07 this morning. I understand that there are no public comments this morning.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of February 9th, 2023, regular meeting minutes. If anyone has any comments, suggestions for amendment, we can hear those now, or I can entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve the minutes. Ted Doolittle.
Do we have a second?
So moved, Mr. Chair. Steve.
Thank you.
Yep.
If we could have a roll call on that.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thomas McNeil.
Yes.
Stephen Hernandez.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Paul Philpott. Hiro Doolittle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this point on the agenda, I guess we have a staffing update from Glenn.
Yes,
Morning, Glenn.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Ted and Stephen, for joining us as well. I'm going to go into the update. I know I provide this information fairly regularly, but always worth touching on to give you folks, the committee members, the latest information on the makeup of the organization of Access Health. So the first slide here, we go into our ethnicity. And as you can see, we're a very diverse organization and continue to be a very diverse organization with over half of our employee base being in the category of Hispanic, Black, African American, and Asian. We've had very good luck recruiting diverse candidates. This just comes from the fact that we are located in Hartford. We have a lot of access to public transportation, centrally located, and we still have good luck recruiting from our call center. While this data isn't reflected in these slides, we just recently brought in 3 folks who transitioned over from our call center who are helping us out on the 1095 side. And as most of you will remember, the call center is located in Bristol, and they tend to hire folks from the Bristol area. Those 3 are really excited to be part of Access Health, and we're happy to have them join us. Marcin, if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, generation, and I know I've focused on this slide over the past few meetings, and certainly worth looking at. As you can see, our organization is getting younger, if you will. We've got our baby boomers, which share has slowly decreased over the past few years. Our Gen X has remained fairly constant. Our millennials are now our biggest demographic in the office. And those, as you can see here by the key, which I always need to look at, are those born between 1981 and 1994. And our Gen Z folks are starting to increase. Those are folks who are born from 1995 to 2010, if you can believe that. But we do have some younger folks entering the office, and it's definitely something we have to consider as different generations have different needs. As you get into the baby boomers and the Gen X, while different, they tend to be a little bit more traditional. The millennials and the Gen Z, that's our newer workforce. They have different wants and needs. So we do a very good job of blending those wants and needs as far as the culture goes, and how we all work together and how we all collaborate. But it's definitely important because, as you know, different backgrounds have different wants and needs. So wanted to share that with the group here. And Marcin, if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, folks, this area here, as far as our pay type goes, still fairly consistent. The majority of our worker here are in the salary area. As we get into the hourly, as mentioned in meetings past, this tends to be our customer resolution team and also some of our admin folks. But the majority of our workers here have been categorized as salary. We do have a slight increase in the female in terms of the gender. Our female demographic went up a few percentage points over the last few months, or at least since our last meeting. So as far as Access Health goes, not only do we have a diverse background in terms of ethnicity, but also in terms of gender as well. And that also, just as an FYI, folks, extends up to our leadership team. We have a good number of females on the leadership team as well. Marcin, if we could advance one more slide. Oh, actually, let's go back to that one. I didn't realize we were through. But members of the committee, any questions here or comments before we get into some of the benefit information I'd like to share? Okay. Okay, hearing none, let's move ahead. All right, I wanted to share with the committee, a number of us in the office worked pretty hard on looking at our benefits as we come into the upcoming year. And, you know, inflation has been a big part of impacting not only folks across the state, but some of our workers as well. And if we kind of just mentally go back to that slide where we see we have a number of our folks who are hourly, just given the wage demographics there, they tend to be on the lower end of the earning scale. And we wanted to see what we could do to help the population as a whole, and certainly, for lack of a better term, benefit folks in other ways than just, you know, let's say a pay increase would, because there are some other benefits that are somewhat out of sight and unfortunately out of mind, and we're going to do some work to get this into the forefront of employees. But the first two line items here, folks, contributing 5% of each employee's salary to their 401a, and then match dollar for dollar up to 5% of the employee contributions to their 457, that remains the same. And just looking out at industry peers or just in the industry in general, that's really generous. There's not a lot of organizations that are offering, if you will, technically a 10% match or a 5% contribution and another 5% adding up to 10% to retirement accounts. This is, again, one of those benefits that people may not see, but, you know, as they progress, especially some of our younger workers down the road, that just compounds. If any of you have done any retirement account investing or investing on your own, you know, that you ride those market highs, they erase the market lows. So for this can have a huge impact on someone's ability to have sustainable income in retirement. So we encourage participation in these plans. Our providers offer discussions with the employees, webinars, how to save. They're tailored to new employees, to kind of employees who are mid-career, employees who are transitioning out, you know, how to allocate your funds as far as, you know, you typically more aggressive when you're younger, and kind of as you get into your mid-career, you know, maybe you balance that portfolio out. And as you get towards the retirement, you tend to be more conservative to preserve it from those market downturns. This next one here, folks, paying 95% aggregated average of health insurance. This is, I'm sorry, Ted?
Glenn? Yeah, thanks. So regarding the first two bullets, the 457B, I know that that's like a 401k for, certain types of organizations. I'm not sure what the 401A is. Can you tell me what the 401A is?
Yeah, that is pretty much it's a separate retirement account. I don't have all the details on that in terms, but it's basically set up. It's a involuntary contribution. So employees get that money set aside to it's a different provider than the 450.
If you don't mind, Glenn. So Ted, it basically our employees do not have a pension plan like state employees do. So this is a defined contribution plan for employees.
Okay, so it's a defined contribution.
Whereas the state has a defined benefit plan.
Yeah, no, I
Right,
understand.
and we're not able to participate in the state pension plan. So when the exchange was established, we created the 401A. And again, we contribute into it for the employees.
And is that
Exclusively.
portable when they leave, or is there a vesting period, or what?
Yes,
portable.
it's portable. It's their money. And just to level set, this is Susan Richby. We as a quasi actually are not able to use a 401k, as you mentioned, Ted. So that is why the 401A is the type of account that we have to use as a quasi agency. So that is what we use, to James's point, for that defined contribution that Access Health makes. And then because, obviously it was a great opportunity, we were able to, we were allowed by the state to also let employees put their savings into the 457B, the state 457B plan. So that is how we do it. People make their own contributions into the 457B, and then we use the 401A, which is a variation of a 401k, but it's what we have to use as a quasi.
And is that with the same financial institution, so they just see it all together?
No, they're different. Yeah, there aren't that many institutions that have a 401A. The company that we use, it's very targeted for government. So it's a lot of, in addition to quasis, it probably has a lot of municipal governments that may, use this type of plan for some of their retirement as well.
When they leave, can they roll it into an IRA or?
Yep, it's their money.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Just like the 457B, it's their money as well.
Yep. Completely portable. Thanks, James and Susan. Okay, this next one, folks, this is something we're looking to do, and is not set in stone yet, and hopefully will be by the time the budget goes through. But we're looking to increase the amount that Access Health contributes or pays towards the health insurance premiums. So employees would actually be paying less out of their own pocket for the health insurance premiums that they contribute to. So by bumping this up a few percentage points, this would conservatively, we had to do an average across the board, save Access Health Connecticut employees approximately $1,700 to potentially $1,900 per year. So that's a good savings for a lot of our employees where they fall wage-wise. This would certainly go a ways towards helping them put a little more money into their wallets or bank accounts, so to speak. So cautiously optimistic this will go through, but a way we felt we could help the employees keep a little bit more of their money as we move forward. Yes, Ted.
And also, go ahead, Ted. I was going to add a little bit more to what Glenn was saying, but go ahead, Ted.
Okay, yeah, so the health plan, is that the same premium for the families regardless of their income scale?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same rate across the board, Ted. It's the employee, if you're a single person on the plan, you pay a flat rate. employee plus one, and then employee family. It's across the board, the same for everybody.
Yeah. I just throwing it out there. I know that there are, and it's not common, but there definitely are organizations that tier their employee contributions based on income. Just throwing it out there as so folks know that. I'm not suggesting that at all, but just mentioning it.
Okay, no, good to know. Thank you, Ted.
Yeah, Ted, we do our best and Access have to keep a very balanced level culture and environment in across the board. One of the reasons that we are increasing Access Health's contribution towards health insurance is to help our employees out, because we are not able to give big raises like a lot of the companies are doing right now to hold on to their employees. We just can't. And if we did it, then it becomes a permanent part of our salary. So it becomes very difficult for us to manage that going forward, given the cost, the revenue constraints that we are dealing with. But we think that this gives us some flexibility in future years, where we could decrease the amount of contribution we're making based on our ability to pay. But if we give a big increase this year, it becomes part of our salary base, and it locks us in going forward. So again, we try to help our employees as best as we can within the constraints of our budget.
Excellent. Thank you, James. Moving on to the next bullet here, we're looking to provide a wellness benefit program with a cost or actually the option for employees to have a bucket of money, if you will, of $200 a year towards wellness activities. As an organization with health in its name or title, we want to make sure our employees are doing things to encourage a healthy lifestyle. So this $200 amount, while we haven't finalized all of the details, some options employees would have if they wanted to use this to help pay for a gym membership, maybe working with a trainer, maybe a health coach, a nutritionist. Maybe it's someone who wants to get a pair of running shoes or walking shoes and start doing some outside activity, maybe doing some bicycling, part of a payment for biking. There's kind of a myriad of ways we could have employees use this money, but we really want to encourage people to get healthy, to get outside, to get active, or just to get active. I do realize there's other ways of being active that involve being indoors, whether it's classes, yoga, fitness, aerobics, anything of that nature. But we're looking to roll this out to employees to encourage movement, activities, wellness, anything of that nature. So we're really excited about this program, and I'll be sure to keep this committee updated when that is rolled out and the take rate on that, because we'll have some good data to see what employees are utilizing this money for. So stay tuned for more information on that. We're also going to be providing this $1,500 payment for our 10-year employees. And the reason we're doing that, folks, is at the earlier stages of the organization, we were giving employees who hit their 5-year anniversary some additional PTO days. And if you think about it, that made sense. It was a newer organization, and being there 5 years was a big deal because we were in the startup phase. But as we hit 10 years and start looking ahead strategically, PTO became less of a viable option, just because people would have a pretty darn big bucket of time off. So we opted to recognize them financially, if you will, for the 10 years of service they provided with the company. And this year, this calendar year, if you will, folks, we've got quite a few people hitting that. I think we're 8 or 9, if not more. One of the things that we do have at Access Health, and I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, folks, was our average tenure. Our average tenure now is 5 years plus. So we've got a great retention rate. Employees who come to Access Health tend to stay with Access Health. So we had to come up with a creative way to recognize and reward that longevity. So not only did they get that, but we recognized them with a small memento, with their name on it. And we also have a celebration in the office for these folks to acknowledge their years of service. And these folks have a lot of good stories and a lot of good institutional knowledge. So it's a great way to recognize them and have them still share with the organization, how far we've come. The other part here, folks, is all the other benefits that we have: our short-term, long-term, our life, dental, vision. They remain structured as they were in fiscal year 2023. And I also do want to mention, folks, we are looking at some optional value added benefits for our employees, where they could purchase additional life insurance, they could purchase long-term care, sometimes they could purchase, accident insurance, and this would be completely voluntary. It would be a group rate, so a better rate than they would find, so to speak, than the street price, if you will, of calling up an insurance agency or going online, because it's with one of our benefit providers. But we are going to be rolling some of those out in the future, but wanted to make the group aware of that. But before I move on, any questions or comments on the benefits, folks?
Glenn, with you and the chair, one quick comment. In the interest of complete disclosure, I should note that I'm one of the 10. I'm one of the 8 or 9 folks who hit the 10-year mark in March of this year. However, I'm not subject to the $1,500 longevity retention, if you will, because it's not part of my compensation package. It's not in my contract, so obviously I cannot participate in it as it is not mentioned in my contract. So I want to make sure everybody's aware that I will not be part of that process. And again, what you've seen from Glenn this morning is a benefit of a maturing company. As we become more mature and we become more stable, we have to develop these benefit packages. Otherwise, we become less competitive in the marketplace in terms of retention of our more experienced employees. So this is a reflection of Access Health becoming a more mature organization and to remain competitive.
Thank you, James.
Glenn, just a question on that wellness
Yes.
benefit program. I assume that's set up on a basis either you use it or you lose it.
Pretty much, Tom.
It doesn't accumulate from year to year.
Right now it's going to be a yearly benefit amount, and use it or lose it is what we're looking at to set it up. I'm cautiously optimistic that people will find a way to use this, and we're certainly going to get the word out in the organization to let them know that it's there, and we can make available their balance too. So if they do have some left over, we can reach out to those folks. We don't want anyone to leave money on the table.
Right. I got you.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Okay. The next item I wanted to talk to you about, folks, is how we'd like to move forward with our intern program. Over the past few years, Access Health has had a number of interns come through the organization, and it's kind of been on a department need basis. And we've had some wonderful interns who've made some really good contributions, and it's been exciting to see them grow when they've been within the organization. But we really, to kind of dovetail into what James said, as we mature as an organization, we feel this program can strengthen itself, or we can strengthen that program ourselves. So what we want to do, proposing to come into next summer, not this summer, is have interns that come into multiple departments. So across the organization, obviously a diverse set of skills, background, majors, educations. So they would work within their respective departments. So let's say you have someone in finance or IT, and then HR, legal. But we would also carve out some time for those interns to meet and collaborate regularly. So not only to share their experiences and what they're going through, but as we get into this third item here, to work on a group project, something tangible, if you will, that will require input from all of the interns in all of their respective areas of the business. And then this final project would be presented to the leadership team. So the goal here, folks, is certainly anytime an intern comes into the organization, they're going to get that experience. They're going to put it on the resume. You know, Access Health, very well-known organization throughout the state of Connecticut. So that brand awareness is going to help them. But it really helps take it to the next level when they can put what they've done, and also when they have some experience collaborating. They have some experience doing presentation in front of a leadership team. This really gives them something more to take away than, just let's just use finance as an example, as more than just working with accounts payable or helping on some of the balance sheets or even with procurement. They can say they've had a project that's made a difference. I've worked at an organization where this happened in the past. It was a really successful program, and it just happened to work out that it was a report that they did in a certain area of the business that needed to be done each summer. So the interns did it, and they actually presented it, their findings, to folks within the organization. So I've seen it work well in the past. I know I talked with James about this and some of my other colleagues. So we're excited to bring this program up to the next level, really have it set in place so those departments that could benefit from an intern as we get into, the late winter and early spring, we can start recruiting for these folks and get them in here for the summer and have them hit the ground running. So looking to implement this into the next summer, but wanted to make you folks aware of that, as this is something that will probably be one of our organizational, or at least HR goals for the upcoming year. But I welcome any questions or comments that the committee may have on this.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. Is this going to be limited to students, or is it going to be, what are the criteria for the intern program?
We're looking, Ted, for college students. So most likely sophomore and above, perhaps junior or above. So some folks who've got a few of those, 200, maybe 300 level classes under their belt, and they can help out in the respective departments. We've had good luck with that age, I shouldn't say age group, but level of college for our current intern program. And
okay, Steve had his hands up.
Yes.
Stephen Enders.
Please, Stephen.
Thank you for that. I think something that you may consider, just because members of the board are in some ways related to the infrastructures that support Access Health, the mission and the work. And what you may consider is perhaps like, visit the institution of one of the board members at any given point. We'd love to host that. We have fellows and interns coming through our institution all the time. So maybe, a day at the Capitol or a day at one of the agencies. I think that would be really cool, just to get the breadth, I think, of how it is that our quasis are supported inside and outside of government.
Stephen, I think that's a great suggestion. I thank you for that. And I wholeheartily agree. A field trip and to get that access. I mean, when I first started, I was fortunate to be able to go over to the Capitol and get a tour and meet some folks, and it was fascinating to me. So I think these students, would find that very beneficial. And then also to meet members of our board, I think, is another kind of feather in their cap. So I have no problem. I'd say looking into it. I think putting that on our agenda is an easy win. So thank you for that, Stephen.
So, Mr. Chairman, again, this and program is evolving. We are still developing it. The plan is to bring it back to this committee later this year, and to let you know exactly what it's going to look like when we have all the details in place. And also, to Stephen's point, one of the things we're considering is maybe having this group present the final project to this committee. Just the exposure and presenting to a board could be very helpful to them. And again, this approach is a collaboration across the entire organization, and also dovetails well with many colleges right now are encouraging or requiring the students to do group projects in most, if not all, classes. And a lot of companies also are looking for experience and collaboration across organizations. So we really think this provides all the students and all the interns an opportunity to develop those critical skills as they enter the workforce. And also, it certainly helps to develop their presentation skills as well. So this is really a comprehensive approach. And Jen and I have been working on this for the last 3 months. We think we have a pretty good program developing. So we'll come back to this committee in the next 2 or 3 months with the final program details. Then after that, we'll start recruiting in December, January for next summer or late spring, early summer class. So more to come on this.
Okay, thank you.
And
Yeah, that's
is this
exciting.
going to be a paid internship or a volunteer?
They're all paid.
Paid. Yep, paid.
Sounds exciting and opportunity to have a group of people who've kind of had the academic exposure come in and look things over, maybe ask questions that people haven't asked before.
Mm-hmm.
And also an opportunity to collaborate with each other from different school backgrounds, and in this case, within different departments of Access Health. So that's a great beginning, I think.
Thank you, Tom. It really is I think we've all been there. At some point, there's the textbook example, and then there's the real world example. So this gives them a good opportunity to see how all the pieces fall into place or how the pieces move. So yeah, we're excited and looking forward to it. And to build on to your point, Tom, this gives them the opportunity, not only to meet some other interns, but just the way we all know the way networks work. These are people who could keep in touch, and I've found in life you never know when paths are going to cross down the road. So gives them an opportunity to start building their network before they even leave school with folks who aren't from their school or don't have the same major as them. So good opportunities all around.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. This concludes my presentation here. This was the last slide we had, but I appreciate all the input, the questions, and the ideas. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time today.
Okay. Thank you. At this point, are there any comments or for the good of the order, or I can entertain a motion that we adjourn?
Moved by Ted.
Second, Steve.
Okay, you want to take a roll call on that motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thomas McNeil,
Yes.
Steven Hernandez,
Yes.
Paul Philpott, Tito Doolittle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Yep. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye all.
Mhm.